Welcome to the Business Spotlight series. My name is Kay Cote. I am your podcast host here at Action Coach in Central Texas. Today I have Josh Sprague, founder and CEO of Seven Clay and Orange Mud, joining me on the show. Today we're going to be talking about his business, his journey to business ownership, and what it's really like to own and operate a business. If this is your first time on our channel, be sure to like and subscribe to get notifications when we drop episodes like this. Well, welcome to the show, Josh. It's so cool to have you here. I'd love to hear about you and a little bit
Thank
of
you.
the background of your businesses.
Sure. No, thanks for having me. I'm excited to delve in and see what we can uncover.
Yes, yes. So give me the rundown of Orange Mud and Seven Clay. Those are some interesting names. I'm really curious to hear about your businesses.
Sure. Well, yeah. So Orange Mud we started in January 2012, and back then I was training for Ironman and adventure racing and doing all sorts of crazy things. And I always hated waist packs and I hated handhelds. And at the time, I was trying to figure out how I'm going to carry the water I need to be able to run, whatever mileage it was I was running. And so, out of frustration, one night I took a gun holster, a fanny pack, some tie down straps in the back of my truck, and a hotel room sewing kit, and I sewed together my first prototype of this idea that had been in my head for a long time, and ended up being called the Hydro Quiver, and was our first product that we launched in January of 2012. Well, years later, now we're big into the marathon, trail running, Ironman, adventure racing, gravel bike, mountain bike space, kind of all over the board. And so that's on the athletic side, and in Orange Mud. And that name came about as a result. My middle name is Clay, and I always thought it was a cool name. And when my boy was born, about the time we started Orange Mud, I told my wife, I said, "Hey, we're going to start a business, and it's going to have my name in it, and it's going to be something Clay." And the reason why I was real forceful about that is because she told me my middle name's a stupid name, and I wanted to name my son that, but she's like, "No, we're not. That's a stupid name. We're not going to do it." So I was like, "All right, fine." 3 months later, out of spite, I put Clay into what became Orange Mud. But unfortunately, Clay is a mud. I couldn't get it to work with the name that I wanted to for a sporting goods business. So Clay as a mud, and sometimes orange. That's how Orange Mud came about. And then at that time, I bought the domain Seven Clay. Seven's I'm born in July, so it's a lucky number of mine. And so I just happened to pick up Seven Clay. And 7 years later, again out of frustration, we were outsourcing a very large dollar amount of custom product every year that we were building on the Orange Mud side for custom embroidery and screen print. And the local shop sucked so bad that out of spite, I had to basically start a new business. So I bought my first machine that involved into, I don't even know how many machines. And with that one, I pulled out the old name list of the 43 domains I bought back in January 2012, and one of them was Seven Clay. Man, I thought, I'm using that finally, about dang time. So now we specialize in embroidery, screen print, laser engraving, all kinds of stuff, and it's become its own monster. So yeah, both entities all within our same building here, which is kind of nice. So we do get to kind of crowd share some resources a little bit, but yeah, it started as something just to supplement Orange Mud, and then now is like Orange Mud's like a quarter of 1% of its revenue, and Seven Clay is its own monster. So all here in Texas.
That is incredible. I love that story. And it sounds like, you've got a lot of hats probably going on. So I'd like to dive into the
Literally.
businesses. Literally.
Yeah, yeah. We make about 200,000 hats a year, so yeah. But I also wear a lot of them, and that's the nice part of making a lot of hats a year. I'm like, you know what? I don't like this hat. I'm gonna wear this hat right now, so that's great. Or yeah, I have to like today. I had to run the lasers because my production manager was out today, and I'll probably help out in the screen print side later today to set up a couple things for my operator to run, and after that, I'll jump into digital advertising and analysis of some new AI stuff we're implementing. So, it's every day is very fractured. My brain is probably about to explode on a hourly basis, but it's a good time.
I completely can relate to you there. So let's dive into like what your business is structured like. They're the founder.
Sure,
Do you have employees? If so, how many? Do you have partners? Like kind of break that down for me.
sure. Yeah. So we both entities are basically LLCs. We're actually financial S corp, but registered as LLC. It's kind of goofy accounting stuff, but yeah, we have oh, I think we're around 18 employees between the two businesses. And then we have a bunch of contractors, whether it's bookkeepers, CPAs, social media managers, email, content, art. I mean, man, you name it. There's people all around the globe that we have that help us in a whole bunch of different ways. Yeah, we have not a huge shop. We have a 3,300 square foot shop here in Round Rock, and again, most of our employees are here. But yeah, it's a lot coordinating all the resources, but it's always kind of a challenge of figuring out where. I try to look at everything as you know trying to find the resource that makes the most sense, and it's not always bringing in an employee. Maybe it's something that's part-time. Maybe it's something that I can't find reasonably priced in the US. We have to go to, like, we have a fantastic employee in the Philippines, or not employee, a 1099 contractor in the Philippines. And she does a lot of our email content and some copy for art ad copy for us. But yeah, it's never ending. It's always something changing on that side. And now we're rolling out AI and a lot of different pieces that are really replacing people and doing a better job than some of the other roles that would maybe cost way more than what I can justify as a small business. So it's one of the probably blessings and also the curse of technology, I guess, in a way. But yeah, even factories. We have factories around the world that support my Orange Mud business. That we design everything here. We do all the cut and sew. I'm actually a pretty good seamstress, believe it or not. So I make all my backpacks perfect before I ever send them to the factory. And we go to Saigon mostly for that, and some in China, but I try not to go to China as much as humanly possible.
Yeah, but that's incredible to hear. Like it's like you have a lot of skills within your business, and you're kind of trying everything and making sure everything's running smoothly. And
Yeah,
that's really cool.
we
Who
try.
who like would you say your business is primarily serve? You mentioned athletics for one and
Yep.
apparel for one. So who's kind of your target um audience?
Sure. Yeah. So with Orange Mud, we're big in the endurance community. That's our 100% focus, and a lot of that's because that's what I've always been focused on. I mean, I've ran 100 miles. I've biked up to 700 miles. Actually, across the state to the south of you, 700 miles. I rode across the entire state of South Dakota. I started out by, I think it was Spearfish, and then we ended somewhere in, I don't know, I forget what the city was, but it was somewhere on the other side of South Dakota. It was
Okay.
insane. But for me, I love to do big endurance things. So whether it's Ironman, mountain biking, adventure racing, trail, whatever, and so as a result, all of our products have been designed from my wants. And so it's kind of a simple self-serving thing where I build things that I want, but I know that if I like it, and I'm really picky and I'm pretty nerdy about stuff, that I hope other people will like it that do the similar sports. So that's how a lot of this has come about. But yeah, it's really all everybody that focuses on endurance sports. Now, we will have people that only run 5Ks that like to maybe carry their phone with them. And in our packs, I always build like pockets up front on the chest to hold a phone or nutrition or whatever it may be. So it's not that we only sell to endurance. However, if you're a mom or a dad that wants to go on a 3 mile bike ride with your kids, you don't need to buy one of our packs. I would appreciate it if you did, but you're probably going to go buy something from Walmart for that, or you're not going to wear a pack at all, and that's totally fine. But so basically, we do high end athletic gear. Everything I do is built with quality first, function right there with it, to where it's going to last you a very long time. And then on the 7K side, our audience there is actually really diverse. It's all over the board, because it's really anybody that wants it. Same methodology, quality products. Like, I'm not a sweatshop. It's not what we do. We do everything the best. We want to lead everything in the industry. We make the best hats in the industry, make the best shirts in the industry, and on down the line. So with us, it's evolved to premium brands or brands that want quality products, and realize, like, okay, I'll pay an extra dollar. It's not like it costs a lot more, but maybe they have to pay an extra dollar for a hat rather than getting it from some sweatshop that is going to just give you some junk that's going to make your brand look terrible. That's really what we built upon, is that we just stand above the rest. And we have QC teams, we have systems, we have expensive software that allows us to have process and procedures that allows us to replicate things. So yeah, we do everything from high-end athletic gyms to influencers and landscapers and construction companies and, tech companies. I mean, it's all across the board. There's no specific audience, fortunately, which is good. I've always liked to be diversified. Just like Orange Mud has all these different types of endurance athletes. Seven Clay is the same, that we have all these different types of customers.
Oh, wow. That's really cool. I like that you're kind of bringing across both businesses the same values and the same, like you said, with the quality and things like that. So that's really
Sure.
interesting.
Yeah. That's an easy way to stand out. Again, some people, they're like, hey, I can buy them for that same hat you're charging, whatever, I can buy for $4 cheaper. I'm like, great, go ahead. Goodbye. I really don't care. I mean, there's so many people that need hats. They're in whatever it may be. You just ultimately, we've never been one that in my entire career, I've never been one to chase the bottom dollar.
Yeah.
We want to make a great product that makes people happy, that people are going to like, and that's the complexity of it. It doesn't need to get any more simple than that. So, but I think a lot of people do. I know a lot of their e-com CEOs that they chase the bottom. They're always discount, 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 discount. Sooner or later, you're going to discount yourself in chapter 11. And that's not our strategy. And it's hard enough to make $1 in the business world anymore. So we just try to have fair prices all the way around and deliver quality products. Should be easy, if you do that, but never is, but it should be.
Yeah, well, this leads perfectly into my next topic, which is marketing, how you're getting the word out about both of the businesses. And so I
Sure.
like to ask business owners how they're finding success with marketing. And across the board, across both businesses, are you doing kind of similar marketing or
Yep.
between both of them, would you say?
We do. Yeah. So
Okay.
like with both channels, Facebook's been our growth platform, and it always has, and it's changed a lot. When we initially kicked off Facebook advertising back in October of 2012 for Orange Mud, it was actually pretty easy. I mean, in all reality, now I buried my life in it, and that's what put Orange Mud on the map. Is that I buried my life in how to become a Facebook expert at the time, or at least as much as I could. But one of the challenges that you'll find with Facebook is that it changes every 3-4 years or so, and I've gone from being an idiot to an expert to an idiot to an expert to an idiot to an expert. Like, I think about 4 times now,
Uh-huh.
and now I'm back in I wouldn't call it expert, but it's Facebook's kind of dumbed things down in a way, just like
Mhm.
Google has, and it makes it easier for, I believe, actually more people to be successful. Now that your return on ad spend may not be what it used to be, but you can tweak for that. Yeah, Facebook it is its own animal, like it or not. Zuckerberg gets a lot of my money on an annual basis. So yeah, that's where the top line marketing expense or advertising expense is. And then we do spend money in Google advertising in both businesses. We have finally been able to make Google advertising work in both. I struggled with it for years, and some of it's just the platform's different, and it's just a different animal. But and then on the marketing side, we do spend money in SEO. On Orange Mud, we don't on Seven Clay, but we do invest pretty heavy there, and that's a grim one every month on that expense. But it's been a new we I've spent, and I'm sure most people will say the same. We go in modes of like, okay, it's this many thousand a month for this process. Okay, I'm going to spend that, and then a year goes by, and you're like, I'm not seeing. I spent $50,000 in this last year, and I haven't seen $200,000 in revenue that I can document or attribute to it. Therefore, I'm going to stop doing that. And then all of a sudden, you come back and you do it again and again, and sooner or later, maybe it's a bad decision, but sooner or later, I figure it's going to work. And so we're back on the SEO train again, and when you're spending deep in Facebook and Google advertising, it's one thing to look at SEO. It's like, okay, it's 3, 4, 5,000 a month, whatever it is, whatever people pay. It's one thing to look at that and say that's expensive. It's another thing to look at it and say, okay, well, if I'm spending $30,000 a month in Facebook advertising, what's $3,000? I'll just pull $3,000 out of Facebook, and then hopefully that organic money will start coming in eventually from the SEO side, and then I can
Yeah.
reduce my Facebook spend and pay for everything. that's the theory. The actuality, I've actually never seen happen, but I'm hopeful. So I'm on a new SEO kick, and I hope that one will make some tremendous strides. But yeah, those are our top ones. We do use Yelp occasionally on Seven Clay. I find Facebook is the number one platform without a doubt for everybody. Google at times is full throttle and awesome, and then it kind of turns off. Google's really weird, but yeah, those are our primary mechanisms. And then we do have the email side, which is I guess more on the marketing side. Like we use Klaviyo to do a lot of our automations to be able to handle some of the follow-ups and whatnot. And then we're implementing some AI stuff right now in Go High Level. We're implemented all inside of there on the Seven Clay side that will handle a lot of our direct messages on Facebook. So we can actually have an AI bot handle a lot of the communication coming in to filter what needs to go to the human interface rather than just doing a lot of basically monkey work, which is what a lot of the messages start with. It's anybody can do it, we're trying to figure out how to scale that more efficiently, and so that's been a big growth this year is really trying to build up our systems that manage this Facebook ad spend, the response to Facebook ad spend, because it can be overwhelming. With Seven Clay, we don't have a problem. We don't even spend that much in advertising. We get more leads than we can manage, and that's the trick, is how do we manage them and be respectful for everybody. So yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, the world of marketing is always crazy. And well, thank you for
It is.
sharing like a little background on your marketing. I'd like to kind of dive
Sure.
into a little bit about you as a business owner.
Mhm.
And my first question for you is why did you choose to go into business for yourself as opposed to working for someone else? And how was
Yeah.
that transition like for you?
Yeah. So on that side, the main reason I did it was, you know, if we go back years, I was adventure racing a lot, and I spent so much time doing these big endurance events with my teammates that I hated the backpacks. We used to go to REI and buy our backpack that we'd be racing with, and then I'd immediately be chopping up with a pair of scissors and sewing some configuration to make it work with the way I wanted. And like from a brand new state, and I was still never completely pleased with it. And so I had theorized from staring at my teammates' backs for racing for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours, thousands of hours over the years, of how this product would theoretically work if I knew how to cut and sew stuff. And then once my boy was born, I used to run a big medical device manufacturing facility in Southern California, and I just didn't have the bandwidth to be able to be a dad and keep up with work and still race and do all these things. And my wife is an attorney, or used to be an attorney, and she didn't either. So I was like, one of us has to quit our jobs. I'm like, there's just no way we can both be full throttle all the time.
Mhm.
And I wanted to do it, but I was the bigger breadwinner, so I was like, well, I have to stay working for a while. But maybe we get this side project going and at least keep you busy and give you something to kind of keep up with and get out of the law field. And then hopefully I can stop and quit my job too. And so yeah, so she quit about a year in, and I quit. I think it was a year and a half or 2 years in. I quit my day job and we got out of California and basically moved to Texas essentially. But yeah, the leap was the frightening part because we had a very comfortable incomes, and to go into entrepreneurship is frightening. And the year that we quit, I remember when I put in my notice, I quit in December. And when I did that, I told her, I was like, well, today we went from the top 1% to the bottom, because that year we made $20,000 was our net profit for the
Mhm.
year. And I was like, we can't live on that. We'll make it about a month and a half actually here in California on 20,000 bucks. So I was like, well, we're moving. First off, we're getting out of California. And then what I did is I set $100,000 aside, and I said, we got $100,000 to burn, and we're going to live on that. Once that, if we use that all, I'm going back to work. And if not, hopefully we're paying ourselves. So
Yeah.
I guess we're going to see. And it took 10 months, and in 10 months, because I knew if I can work 70, 80 hours a week in a day job, and then at night in between being a dad, and at the time my daughter was just born, so time to dad to two kids, um if I could do all that, I figured if I could actually just run one company, then surely I could do a better job and scale it. Because when you're starting out, a lot of people do this. You'll be reckless in spending. Like, oh, Facebook ad spend's working at $100 a day. How about $500 a day? Because you can
Yeah.
do that when you have a day job. But all of a sudden, when this is your income, you're
Yeah.
not as reckless. You test and you plan and you execute a strategy. And
Mhm.
and so I burn a lot of money in the learning phase. It's like most business owners do. Like, oh yeah, you want me to be on an infomercial? Great, let's go. What's 20 grand? Yeah, I think that's fine. And you just basically you're just burning money into a burn barrel. And
Yeah.
so but yeah, about 10 months in, we were able to, over that time, organize and strategize. And I was able to pay myself that year at least a closer livable wage. It wasn't covered all costs, but we lived pretty inexpensive. We left California with good asset and after selling our house and put us on a good map. So yeah, that first year of just running a business when it's your own was really exciting. And then from
Mhm.
there, it just, we grew for 10 years in a row until we
Wow.
ever had our first down year. And the great part of growth is that you're growing. And so you're like, great, this is awesome. Now, the problem with growth is that you're needing more and more revenue to be able to support your inventory. And so,
Mhm.
say you grow 20, 30, 40% in a year. Well, all of a sudden you need to grow your inventory by 20, 30, or 40%. And you need to be ahead of that. And it's a 6 month lead time to get inventory. And so those are the type of things that really, really caught me off guard. And I'm a pretty good math nerd, but it made it hard to constantly calculate for that growth. It was easy to anybody can spend money. Like you can just go and say, oh, I'm gonna buy $1 million inventory tomorrow. But how are you
Mhm.
going to pay for that? And so
Yeah.
the financial aspect of growing a business is something I don't think a lot of people have any comprehension of how hard that is. And I mean, managing finances is, I mean, it's what I do every day. It's what I go to bed thinking about. It's what I wake up thinking about. Is just being smart about how we're managing cash and planning for the inventory I have to pay for. I mean, this week I've been planning for inventory I have to pay for in December or January when it arrives.
Mhm.
That I literally haven't even sent the PO over yet, but I will be by end of week. So those type of things you have to plan for that cash, and it just becomes insane. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's been a great growth, but it's you learn every single day you learn something new. Still 12 years in, over 12 years in, I learn something new every day.
Oh, definitely. Well, oh my goodness, we have covered so much ground. I've absolutely loved the conversation so far, hearing about your business, the both of them, the growth and what you've been through and through this whole experience. And so now I like to dive into a section of questions we call our rapid fire questions.
All
And
right, sounds good.
yeah, these are the answer top of mind. First thing that comes to your mind. Are you
Sure.
ready for some rapid fire?
I'm always ready.
All right. The first question is, what is the key to success for you?
Uh, Man, I don't know if I can be super rapid on that, but I would say the key to success is hard work and determination.
Mhm.
It's that simple every day, whether it's a workout to um, clear your mind or whether it's just outworking everybody else. I do believe in if you're going to be a individual business owner, you got to be able to outwork everybody else or you outsmart them, but generally it's outwork them.
Yes, I love that. What is one piece of advice you would give to other business owners?
Never quit your day job until you have enough assets in the bank to be able to fully fund your business for the first year that you're planning on doing it. And
Mm,
that's what I did, and it worked. Barely scraped by, as I told you, but I have seen too many people go off and start their businesses without having cash reserves,
yeah,
and they usually don't work.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great advice. What is one book or any piece of content, could be a podcast, anything that you've taken in most recently?
Uh, well, I tell you, right now I'm listening to an audiobook. It's called The Turnaround Formula. And at 12 years in business, and I forget the editor's name, it's on Audible. At 12 years in business now, you know, I always listen to books, and it's been a tremendous asset to me over the years. Like Traction is actually one of the best audiobooks I've ever listened to, and I would
Mhm.
encourage anybody to listen to that book. It's like literally a number one. I need to listen to it again. It's been years, but it was like the foundation at the start. But after 12 years in business, you always have to tune yourself. And so this new one that I've been listening to has called the turnaround formula. Has been neat because it just makes you think through, where is your burn rate, in all these different levels. What are you doing? Do you have clearly defined procedures, all the things that we know but you forget. And so
Yeah.
that's where I'm in a different phase. I'm not looking to learn about new advertising right now. I just want to
Mhm.
learn, like, what am I doing? What could I be doing better? And this has been a whole year of focus on what can I do better for health? What can I do better for business, family, everything? And so, yeah, this has been my latest book that I'm about halfway into right now.
Oh, I love that. That leads me right into my last rapid fire question. If you had to choose only one area of business you could rapidly improve tomorrow, what would it be?
Yeah. Uh, I guess I would say design.
Mm,
And the reason, product design on the Orange Mud side, the reason is because I don't do it as much as I used to.
mhm,
And because I'm sucked too much into the bean counting, the advertising, the marketing
mm.
strategies, and just all the minutia of running a couple businesses. That's where I've been weaker lately. Not that I'm doing a bad job with designs. I'm just not doing very many of them. So yeah, that's
Mhm,
one that I I need to carve out time. So yeah, that's going to be a big
mhm.
one later this year.
Amazing. Well, thank you for answering those questions. Before we get into our final question of the day, how can
Sure.
people find you? Drop your social media handles, emails, anything you want.
Yeah. Yeah. So at orangemud.com, at Seven Clay, SEVEN CLAY. And then on any social. And then, of course, on the web, orangemud.com and 7clay.com. I'm pretty easy. And LinkedIn, if you search for me, you'll find me.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Josh. This has been a great conversation. For our final question for the day, what
Sure.
is most inspiring to you today?
Most inspiring, I guess, you know, I still would always reflect on the Orange Mud audience that we have. Um, when I started the business, it was about building a backpack that would make running and easier, really. And but it would not detract from your mission to go out and go for a run and look around and enjoy the outdoors. And so, 12 years later, one of the greatest parts that I like to see, and it motivates me when I'm slacking, because sometimes as a business owner, you get down this path of I work, I work, I work, I work, I work. And what the heck are you working for if you're not going out and doing fun stuff? And this year, like I touched on a second ago, this year, one of my whole critical goals that I defined, I wrote down, and I have in digital and I wrote down, and I look at it often. At the end of last year is work out more, treat yourself right, and
Mm,
because if I stay fit and healthy, my brain works faster. I think
yes.
more. I'm positive and everything. So, but what I'm influenced by the most is seeing all the people that are out there doing just that. And
Mhm,
sometimes I feel like an idiot because I'm making packs for these people to do amazing things, and all these people are doing amazing things, and I'm not. So this year has been a little bit of a regroup into to that passion, and I'm using everybody's, I guess, my social view into their world into a little bit of motivation. Like, hey, if she can go out and run 100 miles tomorrow, then I should really be going out and at least running 5. So,
mhm.
um, or whatnot. So, yeah, I'd say people are always my influence, no matter what.
Well, that's incredible and very motivating for me as well. So thank you so much for your time on the show today. It was a real honor to have you.
No, thanks for having me. I always appreciate it.